Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're going to be ranking the best small forwards in NBA 2K23 MyTEAM here on this tier list. So, as y'all can see, the small forward position is absolutely stacked. There are very few cards in this list that I would say are bad card. It is super deep, so it's going to be tough to do this tier list and rank some of these guys lower. Now, I am recording this video on Monday. Y'all aren't going to be seeing it until Thursday because I'm going out of town tomorrow, going to Illinois to visit my cousin for the next few days. So I'm pre-recording this video, so if there's any shooting guards that come out over the next, or small forwards that come out over the next few days, I apologize that they're not in this tier list. Leave me a comment. I can tell y'all where I would rank those guys on this list. But with that being said, without further ado, let's hop right into it and start off with Harrison Barnes. So even though the small forward position is as deep as it is, I think he's incredible. A tier, one of the best releases in the game. Moves pretty well. Half-limitless takeoff and posterizer as well, and a very capable defender. A really good card at 6'8", and I think he's a very solid card. Definitely an A tier guy for me. I'm going to go B tier for Bailey Howell. Really good budget guy. Quick first step and clamp breaker on Hoff. Really solid all-around defender with good defensive Hoffs. He can compete on the interior and the perimeter. He's got a good release. Doesn't move incredibly well, but not terrible on that end either. He's a very versatile small forward. Great 3-and-D guy who can kind of create his own shot a little bit as well. And I think he's a B tier guy. Carmelo, as incredible as his release is, he doesn't do enough else on the court outside of the release for me to put him higher than C tier, but I do still like Carmelo, and I think he's a very solid card. With his release, the small forward position is just so deep that I can't put him higher than C tier. Now, I'm going to go Cincy Powell in the B tier. I think that's a fair spot for Cincy. I don't think he's a bad card by any means. I like him. His release is kind of mid, I'll be completely honest, but he moves very, very well, which is super nice. He does a lot of things well on the court. He's a very good slasher. The release just throws it off a little bit for me, and he also has a small player build, but a lot of people love Cincy. I just don't think he's next level great, so I think he's B tier as well. This is going to annoy people. I'm going to be completely honest. I am really tempted to put Giannis in the B tier. If y'all know me, y'all know I'm not super high on Giannis. I don't think he's next level great. But I still got to put him in the A tier. I still think he's very good because he does a lot of things really, really well on the court. His size is so valuable. His his defense is incredible as well, and his slashing is amazing. He just has a super mid release, which is his biggest issue. Outside of the release, he's an amazing card, no doubt about that, and definitely an A tier guy. If he had a better release, he'd be S tier. There's no questions about that, but I just don't like the release, so gotta go A tier. Glenn Robinson, I know he's like a very new card, collector level reward, but he's just not that great. He doesn't move that well. He's very meh, to be completely honest, unfortunately. Would have liked him to be a really good card at the small forward position, but I just don't think he is. I think he's solid. I just don't think he's next level great, to be completely honest. So that's where I'm going to put Glenn Robinson, is going to be in the C tier. Another guy who's going to go C tier for me is James Worthy. His time is a little bit outdated at this point. I liked the card a ton when he first came out. He was one of the best small forwards in the game in like season 1, season 2, but release is good defender, but doesn't move great. He's good, but he's a little bit outdated at this point, I think. So again, I got to go C tier, especially with how deep this position is. Jason Tatum's going to go B tier for me. I love Jason Tatum's release, but he still doesn't move that well. They kept his release on normal. If they put it on quick when this card came out, I really think he would have been absolutely incredible. And I do still like him a lot as a card. I just struggle to put him higher than the B tier, to be completely honest. Unfortunately, as much as I do think he's a very solid card, they could have made him a lot better when they released the card. So B tier for me for Tatum, to be completely honest. Joe Smith is S tier. I don't care that he's a diamond. This card is so good. Joe Smith is an absolute dog in this game. He's 6'10", with an incredible player build, an amazing release, moves really well, half limitless takeoff, and posterizer. So he's got the best slashing badges. He's a great defender. He is so good. He's what Giannis would be if Giannis was an elite shooter and an elite shot creator. Maybe not quite as good defensively, but I still think he's an incredible card, and I think he's a very, very easy S tier for me. So Joe Smith, incredible card. Jonathan Isaac, again, he's going to go C tier. He's a great 3-and-D guy with great size, but he doesn't do anything else besides knock down threes and play defense. I don't think he's as versatile as a playmaker as Bailey Howell. I don't think he's quite as good of a card as any of the guys I have in B tier, so still got to go C tier, but a great budget 3-and-D guy who can fit in any sort of lineup, to be completely honest. A lot of these guys, even in like the C tier, can play competitively if you just use them for their role. He's just not the most all-around elite small forward. I'm actually going to put KD in D tier because we have to have a few D tiers on this list. And I think he's one of the worst cards at the small forward position. As insane as that may sound, I know he's got good size, but his release is super mid this year. He's not an amazing defender. He's not an amazing shot creator. He is not good in 2K23 right now. I expected him to be really, really good, to be completely honest. But as of right now, he's just not. I'm sure we'll get a really good KD card in the future, but they're going to have to change his SIG, speed up his release, things like that to make him an amazing, amazing small forward. Because right now, he's just not. I know we have a million C tiers, but Larry Bird's also C tier. Like, he's just not great. He's a great defender, but his release is super mid, which is definitely the biggest flaw on the card. I still don't think he's bad by any means. For a card that's literally the final reward grind, for like a grind that's hundreds of hours long to complete the trophy case, he's so disappointing because of how mid his release is, the fact that he can't create his own shot, that he's not a great athlete. The best part about the card is the defense, which is kind of a shame, to be completely honest, that the best part about a Larry Bird card is his defense, but still think he's good, and I think he's C tier. I'm actually putting Larry Nance in A tier, and y'all are going to say that's a little high, but he's 6'10 with a really good release, and he's an exceptional defensive card. For those of y'all who haven't seen Larry Nance, 6'10 with a 7'1 wingspan. He's fast. He's an elite all-around defender, a great slasher, and does need shooting badges. I would add catch and shoot to him, but he can get limitless range, which most guys can't get, so that's super nice. And then he can also get rise up. He already has decent playmaking badges, and he's an incredible defender with Hoff Challenger, anchor, chase non artist, clamps, pogo stick, can get brick wall. Super complete and super good with a solid release as well. Doesn't move well, but everything else he does at an incredible level. He's kind of like Giannis, better release, similar defender, similar slasher, but doesn't move as well as Giannis. But I think they're on very similar levels, and I think he's an A tier guy for sure. Bron's going to go S tier. They improved Bron's release a lot this year. I still think he's an absolutely elite card all the way around. Can really do everything on the court at a super high level. Incredible defender as well, one of the best defenders in the game, an amazing slasher. Great player build, gets a ton of stops, even in the paint against bigger guys. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's S tier. Paulo Banchero is missing key badges. That's the main flaw with Paulo. If he had a lot of the key badges that he's missing, he would be incredible because he's 6'10 at small forward with a fast release, normal leaner, good SIGs, a lot to like about Paulo. They just didn't give him the badges that he needed to be super complete, because if they had badged this card out the way they did Joe Smith with all the key badges, at least on gold, you're legitimately looking at a guy who's like borderline S tier, but with the badges he's missing, I still think he's B tier. Another guy who's a surprise, but I'm going to put in D tier, is going to be Paul George. He's a great defender, but Paul George does not compete against most of the top small forwards. Obviously, I legitimately believe every card on this list, with the exception of maybe the next guy, to be completely honest, can compete at pretty much any level. That's how deep the small forward position is. And his badges are great. Hoff limitless takeoff, Hoff limitless range, Hoff posterizer, Hoff clamps, Hoff glove, Hoff quick first step. But he does not move great. His release is super mediocre, and stats and badges are amazing. Now, I'm gassing it badly. I need to move Paul George up. He is at least C tier. I don't know why I'm putting him in B tier. I know his release is mid, but he does everything else still really well, and he doesn't need to be a great shot creator at the small forward position. I need to calm down and not gas things. I'm moving him up to B tier. I know that's a weird change, going from D to B, but I'm gassing it with him for sure. Now, Rick Barry's the worst small forward on this list. Average release at best, can't create his own shot, not a great defender, kind of undersized, not a great card. The only reason he's on this list is because of how recent he is. He only came out about a week ago, but definitely not a big fan of this card whatsoever, so I will say that. Small forward also is going to be Rudy Gay, another D tier guy, to be honest. A good release, but he's not quite as complete badge-wise as you'd like, not quite as complete stat-wise as you'd like. Really good release and a great player build, but he's going to need more badges on his next card to be more complete and to be a better option at small forward. Only reason Sean Marion's going D tier is because two reasons. Well, there's two reasons, I guess. Number one, his release is so weird. It's fast, but it is so odd, and I cannot master his release for whatever reason. But outside of the release, he is a great defender and he's a great slasher, but the other problem with him is the fact that he can't create his own shot at all. He moves very poorly, and he is only 6'7" as well. So great defender, great transition slasher, but release is super mid, or super weird, and doesn't create his own shot very well, unfortunately, as well. I'm going to have to move some guys up. I'm moving Jason Tatum up to A tier. I think he's definitely an A tier guy, because I'm going to throw Bailey in B tier. He's kind of Giannis light, in all honesty. Very good release, better than Giannis, but he's not the the defender or slasher that Giannis is, or really playmaker either. He's just not as complete as a Giannis type of guy, but I do still think he's a great card at small forward, and still a B tier tier guy, a really, really good budget option. Tim Thomas and Zion are both going S tier. I do think they're the two of the best 3 small forwards at least. You could make an argument for Joe Smith being better than Zion, but Tim Thomas obviously maybe still the best card in the game. I thought Zion was better than Tim Thomas at first, but he just gets tired too easily, which is the main issue with Zion. But Zion's an even better slasher than Tim, and probably a better defender than Tim. Tim just is one of the best, probably the best all-around shot creator in the game still. Insane release, amazing dunk animations, really good defender, great size at 6'10". He is so good and so complete, but both of those guys are easy S tiers and cap off this tier list perfectly. So this is my tier list of the best small forwards in my team right now. Remember, even the guys in C tier and even in D tier, most of those guys are not bad cards. Small forward position is super deep. I just had to be picky with how I did this tier list. But let me know what y'all think of my tier list down in the comment section down below. Who I maybe ranked too high, too low, or left off the list entirely that you think does deserve a spot. And I can tell you where I would put those guys. But if you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.